My name is Sui. I'm currently the chair of the IEEE PES Student Branch Chapter at the University of Manchester. Thank you for joining us for the PES Day event today. This is organized by our Student Branch Chapter and also the PES UK and Ireland Chapter. Before we start, please keep yourself muted and use the chat room for any questions. The audio and presentations will be recorded and later published on our website. The chat history will not be recorded. So today we're going to have 3 talks, and then we will have a panel session addressing the theme of the PES Day this year, which is the affordable and clean energy to the community. Then if you have any questions during the webinar, I will be collecting them. And then at the last part in the question and answer session, I will address it and I will answer it, or the speakers will answer it. Okay, so our first talk will be on the history and the future of the power energy society. The speaker is Mr. Keyi Wang. He received his bachelor and master degree in the University of Manchester, and he's now doing a PhD degree here. His research interests include power network reliability and resilience, and he served our student branch chapter as the treasurer last year, and now he's the vice chair. He also one of the PES Day student ambassadors at the University of Manchester. So now let's have Keyi to share his screen.
Hello, can you see my screen now? A second. All right, good afternoon, guys. My name is Keyi, and today I'm going to talk about the power and energy society, the history and the future. So let's, first of all, let's have a brief history of the IEEE. In the late 1880s, the technology advancement in the electrical energy, engineering bring a need to a society. The technology including telegraph, telephone arc lights, incandescent lights, and power stations. And the catalyst of the society is the International Electrical Exhibition at Philadelphia in the US in 1884. And in the same year, the American Institute of Electrical Engineers is established, which is also called AIEE. And later on in 1912, a group of engineers also in the electrical engineering field, they feel like they need a new society for radio technologies because the AIEE is pretty much dominated by the power and energy engineers. And in 1812, they found a new society called the Institute of Radio Engineers, or IRE. And this society specialized in the radio technology and later on in the electronics. And in 1963, these two societies becomes together again. They are integrated in one society called the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, or what we now know the IEEE. If you look into the logo of the societies of IRE and AIEE, the left one, IRE, you can see a downwards arrow and a clockwise arrow. This is the right hand law, which is an important law in the electromagnetism. And if you look into the logo of AIEE, the diamond shape represents a kite, which means it represents the kite experiment conducted by Benjamin Franklin. And finally, these two elements are combined together into the new IEEE logo. And we can also see the topic of IEEE is combined from both societies. If you look into the left, power and energy industry application and nuclear energy, these are the topics of power and energy. And if you look into the middle, communication, networking, components, circuiting, and some signal processing, these are the topic of communication and electronics, which was the topic of IRE. And finally, the topic is broadened into physics, industrial applications, and bioengineering and civil engineering. Now, IEEE is the world's largest professional association for the advancement of technology, especially in the electrical and electronic field. And here are some quick facts, simply to show the impact of IEEE. Now, IEEE have more than 400,000 members in more than 160 countries, and more than 100,000 of student members, 39 technical societies, and the Power and Energy Society is one of them. And the IEEE publishes more than 200 transactions, journals, and magazines, and they have more than 1,900 annual technical conference and over 1,100 standards and more than 600 under development. And in all the standards, the PES contribute more than 40%. So as I said, Power and Energy Society, power and energy is a very important topic in IEEE, and this society is established in 1970. PES is the oldest society in the IEEE and the second largest IEEE society. If you look into the role and responsibility of the PES is the largest forum for sharing the latest technological developments in the electric power industry, and they develop lots of standards to guide the development and the construction of equipment in the systems and guide the industry and educating the members and the general public. So this year, the PES Day topic is more power to the future and bringing more affordable and clean energy. But what are the challenges for this? We can see from three aspects. The first one is the integration of the renewables. Renewable energy is a solution to bring more clean energy, but itself is a challenge to the existing power network because of the power electronic interfaces, because of the protection issues and the uncertainty of the energy resources, and also weather hazards is a big challenge to the power network. Because the existing power network, they have their reliability guidelines. The most well-known one is N-1 or N-2. The system can cope with the component loss for one or two components, but the weather hazards such as a windstorm or lightning, they can immediately let the system lose more than two or three components, and the system may fail to cope with the emergency condition. And finally, because of the new advanced technologies we integrate into the system, including more communication, control, and microgrids, and the integration of renewables, we need new grid codes to cope with the new technologies. And what is the role of PES in this more power to the future position? The PES is committed to fulfill these five aspects, including developing more standards and participating in the regulatory intuitives, and more activities in the industrial trends, educating the future workforce, and finally boost the global impact of the participation in this field. If you are interested in the past society or the history, please check these links. All right, that's everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your interesting talk. I hope everyone now have a broad picture of the history of IEEE and also the Power and Energy Society. So our next talk will be on the activities of the Power and Energy Society in the UK and Ireland. We have Dr. Angeliki Loukatou with us today. So Dr. Loukatou received her diploma in electrical and computer engineering from the National Technical University of Iceland, and she also completed her PhD in the University of Manchester. Oh, sorry. She's currently working as a modeling analyst for energy and system Catapult. And now she is within the committee of the Power Energy Society chapter in the UK and Ireland. Okay, now I need to unmute her, and now she can share her screen for her presentation.
Yes, so I have unmuted myself. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, I guess you can see my screen. Okay, brilliant. Okay, yes. So as Siwi said, my name is Angeliki Loukatou, and I'm going to give you a short presentation about the benefits of joining the IEEE Power and Energy Society. So just give me a sec. Yes, so first of all, who we are. We are currently 8 members, and we are split between industry and academia. You can see here the chapter committee. We have quite a nice split between male and female members. That is also our website in case you would like to visit and to find more details and contact information in case you would like to contact us personally. So I'm gonna briefly talk about what are really the benefits of joining the society. So hopefully until now you will have an understanding of what IEEE is about. So as it was said before, so the aim and the mission is really to advance technology. And of course, when it comes to the IEEE PES, that refers to advancing technology in the power and energy sector. So there are various benefits that they refer to joining. Sorry. So first of all, there are various members involved in the society. You have different various subscriptions that you can have. You can see on the right side, that is one of the magazines that you receive if you become a member. I find those very interesting. So the topic varies from magazine to magazine, but the interesting thing is that they are not necessarily UK specific, but they cover any recent power engineering trends and news worldwide. So for example, you may be able to read articles about the deployment of energy storage in either United States or in China, or in Mediterranean countries, and any other topic related to the operation and the planning of power systems. Through joining the society, you also have a lot of discounts when it comes, of course, to technical conferences and to tutorials. I can imagine many of you are either master or PhD students, and that can be quite beneficial for you. And of course, there are also benefits about involving yourself and volunteering at some local student brand chapters and also at local PES events being organized. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give you a brief overview of our statistics of our members for UK specifically, and then I'm going to talk about the events, the different types of events that are being organized. So I have these statistics here that you can see. So as I said, these are for Region 8 specifically. Without bothering you with a lot of details, you can see that most of our members that are primarily working on being involved in the power and energy industry. We have a lot of mission and a problem with attracting female members, and that is something that we're currently working on. So apart from always staying and adhering to our mission of advancing technology for humanity, we have also now an extra mission which refers to attracting and sustaining more female engineers in power engineering disciplines. So I'm going to start now describing the different events that we organize. So the first one refers to the distinguished lectures. So that really is just different speakers coming from different universities worldwide and giving talks about many interesting topics. Of course, as you can imagine, there is a lot of change happening right now in power systems, and a lot of discussion is around the control that we have on the distribution. There are always talks about markets, about policy and regulation, and of course about flexibility and storage. So these are just, again, not an exhaustive list, but just a sample of the different talks that they have been organized in the past years from, as I said, lecturers coming from any angle of the world. So the next thing that we do is a bit of technical events. So these are longer scale events. So the previous ones, as I said, they were mainly probably shorter talks, like a 1 hour talk with some questions after. So this event is the Manchester Energy and Electrical Power System Workshop, and is organized by the student brand chapter of the University of Manchester. So that one is a one-day event, and it has different structure within the day. So you have the different talks, then you can have a panel session, you can have also some poster sessions as well. So there is a lot of activity happening within the day. The theme as well varies from year to year. So in the past, so the event is now being organized quite many years, and so some years the event may be more data oriented. So for example, how we can use big data in power systems. Other years may be more related toward asset management, or as I said before, to control of the distributed energy sources. So there is quite a variety there. And honestly, the good thing, as I said before, if you become an IEEE and PES member, you have the access to join this student brand chapter. And by volunteering and only helping to organize an event like that, you build a lot of different skills. So as you can imagine, and as I said, this is really an event of big scale and magnitude. So organizing something like that will help you build your planning skills, and also working close with your peers, network a lot within the day, even if you are just an attendee on the day, and building a lot of different soft skills, apart from, of course, the power system knowledge that is always there. So, as I said before, we have expanded our mission in the IEEE PES. So, of course, we are always interested in identifying the new power system engineering trends. But as I said, we also have a mission to understand what is really happening with the gender balance when it comes to the power engineering. So based on that, in the past, we have organized different events. And of course, the first step is always to understand why something is happening. So to understand why we have low numbers of female engineers in the power sector, and then organize further events and different workshops, and then understand how we can start tackling one challenge after the other. Some example of those, there may be work-life balance issues. So we've had speakers in the past tackling that area, or it may be some different challenges and opportunities that you may have when you transition either from academia to industry, or from industry back to academia, or from a master to a PhD level. So different, as I said, issues are being identified, and then we try to tackle those and see what steps we can take further to start addressing them. So as I said, that's quite an important mission within the IEEE PES. And I also have a poster, so you can, hopefully you can see that in the bottom on the right side. So that was done as part of the student run chapter of the University of Manchester, and it was a collaboration with the IEEE Women Engineering Affinity Group. And the idea was, again, to identify the female engineers, build like an affirmation that you may have, say a few words about yourself, and fix a poster that we can use it with an advertising purpose in either school exhibitions or in our events or in any other event that we aim to attract more women, as I said, in the power sector. So the next thing that we organize splits into two different parts. So one of them has to do with some industrial visits. So in the past, there have been those organized either in companies like Siemens, as you can see, or in wind farms. And those, I have attended those myself, and I find them very beneficial, because you can go into these companies and ask the different groups that are there, and that are happy to help, about how easy to work in that company, what challenges wind operators may face, how the revenue streams may be affected. So any question that you really have, my experience says that people are more than happy to help you in that area. And then, of course, we have more of like writing seminars. So either about how you publish. So as I said before, I can imagine you are a master or PhD students, and you may want to either write a dissertation or a thesis. So as part of that, you may have to publish. So we have talks about how you can benefit from people that they have been already in the process, and they can help you in giving you some tips, for example, about how to write the results section in a clearer way, how to write a very effective introduction, how to write a literature review that is summarized, it's relevant to the topic, stuff like that, which again, I think for engaging either through the committee or attending yourself, I always find these events very useful. So here I have two examples of some student brand chapters that they exist in UK. One of them, of course, you attend the event today, is in Manchester. The other one is in Strathclyde. So you can go online and you can find more presentation about those, and find more information, and contact them, honestly, if you want to start volunteering and getting more engaged yourself. And then the last thing that I would like to say is, so I pretty much tackle the benefits. As I said, you have access to a lot of resources. You get access to our magazine. You have a lot of discounts. You can involve locally in these societies, and then enhance your network skills and your soft skills. And you can find more information about all those benefits grouped inside those 4 links. And then I have added also an extra link which refers on how you can join the IEEE, and then subsequently the Power and Energy Society. And just a last note from me, if you are a student and you register first for the IEEE, another benefit that you really get is that the first year of your PS membership is free for you. So that is just another benefit and another thing that you want to keep in mind. So I guess that's it from me. I have my contact details. You're going to get the presentation after, but if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them in the slot that we will specify later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kelly, for your great presentation. I see a lot of photos of our student branch chapter activities there. And of course, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat room. And Kelly might be able to answer them in the chat room or later at the end of this event. So let me switch back to my screen.
Yes, I stopped sharing mine.
All right. Okay, so let's have our third talk. We have Uduak here. She is currently MSc student at the University of Manchester. She's also a past day a student ambassador for UK and Ireland. And she had a lot of student activity experience back in her home country. And so today, she's going to talk about how you can participate in the PES in a global perspective. So what can you please share your screen now?
All right, thank you very much. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, thank you. My name is Uduak, just as introduced, and I'm gonna talk about. Good evening, everyone. So I'm gonna talk about the global participation for the IEEE PES, and globally we have about 129 region for the IEEE PES, and what we have there is that the global engagement through local chapters and the social activities, public policy engagement, humanitarian efforts, and education and certifications. So these are subject, and the UK and Ireland fall in region 8. So like what we have here, so we have like 15% of membership from the UK and Ireland, and the membership growth in the region 8, 9, and 10 has been an outstanding. So we give it to the region 8 and 9, 10. So they've been doing well. And next thing I just want to look at is the IEEE scholarship and initiative. Now, this scholarship, they recognize, we've heard about the history and the benefits of joining the PS, but there are a lot more about that, because the PS, the graduate members and the student members around the world has chosen, like if you're in the academic path leading to engineering and energy, like power and energy industry, so you have a great they've been given like scholarship to those student members. And the major, as you see here, the overall goal of this initiative is to help students get interested and involved in more power and energy, looking at being the PES is the second largest research when it has to do with the IEEE profession. So there are a lot of financial assistance. It also helps students get involved, like we've heard there, and like the career, the PS career. There are lots of interesting events happening in the PS, and we also have like online free access. It can do free access to industry services. It helps get mentorship. So like if you are engineering student in the energy, power and energy sector, and you really need to get a mentor and in the industry, it helps you. So PS, it's connecting power and energy students with the future employment. So it's very interesting. And also look at the smart grid. Here it's very important, especially in the developing countries, because most of the challenges of stable, clean, and affordable energy. And so here, the smart grid, what the IEEE PES does in terms of the smart grid, we can see here the foundational support systems in getting the transmission, the distribution, the customers, and the entire market. So it sets a global standard through its collaborate. It sets and provides education, the research, and innovative. It expands through the outreach, like in terms of the market, so we could see here. So more of it, and it's a growing global community where you can see we have over 1,700 members that really into this to be able to create technological advance, environmental friendly, and smart grid network around the world. So this is what PES is doing in terms of the smart grid all over the world. And we have here the smart village empowering off-grid community. So here, especially in African countries, like developing countries like Africa and in Nigeria. So basically what we do is we partner with what we call IEEE PES. It's great supportive. We partner with Rural Electrification Agency, and in trying to reach the communities and just trying to provide them with lights and modern power. That there are lots of people out there that does not have access to electricity. So the PES, the IEEE PES, has really been supporting, and with the IEEE Foundation to reach out to all those developing countries in trying to make sure that those off-grid has been able to get supply and have access to electricity. So this is one of the outstanding projects in developing countries. And this is just like the membership initiative. So as a when you become IEEE members, and there are lots of sponsorship, like I said, the committees, allocations of fund and competition. So as a member of PES, you have access to a lot of things. You compete, and at the end of it, you have something like money. Okay, so quickly I'll just look at the renewable engineering in schools. So in the developing countries, especially, and generally, the peers try to reach out to schools, schools from the primary, the secondary, and the undergraduate, and the universities, like, to reach out and teach them on how the alternative ways to generate energy, seeing that this is becoming a global demand. And so PES has really been in that. This mission was its initiative winning project of 2016, but it has been really, like last year, 2019, it has gone massive globally to reach out to the secondary school, in a lot of ways to show them how to generate alternative energy. And so this has been done by 3 ways. Like we have the air power roser, that's through working with the ACOM chamber to achieve that. And we also have the salt water. So these are just the way which we teach these students and how to, the form of good clean energy, and while building, empowering their own kids. And also another way is just like solar kids. And so we teach all these kids to, these students, to build toys that can require no battery. So this has really been a massive work there in the developing countries. And I also want to look at women in power. Okay, so women in power, they really, it's not just for women people in the industry and alone, but they try to make sure that they advance the world through creativity and innovations of diverse leadership. They also help women achieve their full potential to become the leaders of the future, and encourage many women to occupy leadership positions. This has been a great project, and the Women in Power has really been on this. So they also reach out the activities of women in power activities in school. They reach out to say school and do like orientation, encourage women, girls to come up, like study engineering, coming up to the world of power and to build innovative develop network, support career advancement. So that's the activities of women in power in schools. And so this just like okay, in the African countries, how we call Power Africa, and last year was held in Nigeria, and these are the women in power across the Africa. They did a massive work there, and by helping young professionals evaluate their own goals and great building block for lifespan, develop networks. So the women in power has been doing a massive work and through the help of IEEE. And the whole thing is just for women in power is just by promoting more diverse leadership in the power and energy encourage. So it's helping career advancement, networking, and education of women in engineering industry. And for IEEE Student Chapter Congress, so what happened is yearly globally we have what we call the Student Chapter Congress, where all the students across the globe, they meet and share ideas, exchange, networking, and that. So we have a lot of benefits for the student, like expansion of professional network and technological chance to meet new people. So this is the essence of the student chapter. You get to meet students across all over the world and world without boundaries. So it's an encouragement for student, engineering student, and science, those that are do research on power and energy field to join. And so a lot of people has been, it's very important to know what it takes to create PES student chapter, because it's very important. So, and I just outlined few ways here we can do that. And to create that, you just need 6 members of the IEEE. And with that, the first year is free. So with the student members you register as an IEEE member and you get free PES student membership. And the next thing is that you get an advisor. Advisor could be a senior member or a graduate student member as an advisor for the chapter. So and the next thing is just you go online and request for open of the new PES chapter. When you open the new PES chapter, 1 week or 2 later, then you get the approval for the chapter, and at the end of it, you get sponsorship for some things. So this is just like a way, if you go online, you see this, if you have to open and you get an advisor, all these things will be done. If there's any school here that wants to, maybe in the UK or Ireland, that wants to open. And so this is what we have is just the PES student branch chapter in the world. So as we can see here that the Canada, the United States, and all Australia, they really have a massive, like the student school, these chapters has really been massive. And then so in terms of the UK and Ireland, we need to do have more student chapters. So these are the student branches all over the world. And the support, but at the end of it, when you open the student branch, you get support, like set up fund. There's a benefit, and like you get the reward, and being sponsored for Congress and a lot of things. There are benefits for being a student member eligible. You participate in conference, and you have discounts for conferences and PES tutorial, which is very good for those in research and every other person. And so these are just the relevant things. So if you go to the online, in which this site, it will be uploaded, you will see more on that. And so last, just the technical team. So in PES, there's no barrier to any field of engineering. So in any, you're in a research, you want to do your dissertation, your research, you're a research student, you get a lot of materials there with discount, some are free for the members. So I really encourage anyone that wants to register with IEEE PES to go through this, and you see the membership benefits, the resource center, and really help the videos, everything, publications, presentations, like just like currently they're doing free tutorial. So as a member, you have access to that. So more power to the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the talk. Let me first go back to my screen. Share. Okay, so I've unmuted all the speakers and I'll invite them to be our panelists for this panel session to address the past day theme this year, which is the affordable and clean energy to the community. So we have some questions prepared for this panel session, and if anyone have any technical questions regarding this topic, please please post your question in the chat room, and if we have time, I will address them afterwards. So, okay, our first question to ask the speakers is, since we aim to bring more affordable and cleaner energy to the community, but which one should we consider in the first place? So, should we just ask by the order? So, Kelly, how do you think?
Okay. So I think my personal opinion is that there are of equal importance. You know, a lot of times we refer to the energy trilemma. So apart from the affordable and clean, there is also the safe and the secure part. And I think Keyi touched that in his presentation with the resilience. So I think, as I said, I wouldn't say that one is more important over the other. So this is why I think we have all of these trials, and we really try our best to protect the customers and the consumers, because in the end, those are the ones that they will pay the bill, because any investment that we do in the network, it will eventually pass back to the customer. And I think this is why now that all of the distribution networks, they become more active, this is why we investigate all of these flexibility options through either the demand side response or storage, because basically we don't want to just integrate renewable and just ignore the rest of the elements. So yes, we do want to integrate it and it fits the clean part, but also we have to think that the affordability and the security, they also need to be covered as well. So I wouldn't say that one over the other weighs more. I would say that we need to find an approach that fits all the three angles of the trilemma.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. So Keyi and Uduak, do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I quite agree, but I just want to look at it in the developing countries because of the challenges we are having with getting either affordable and clean energy. So in most developing countries, I don't think anyone would really at this point care about how clean the energy looks like at the end, but all they want is like, let it be something they can is it something they can afford? So ironically, modern affordable energy and sustainable energy source like solar, for instance, or wind power turns out to be clean because of the no environmental pollution. So for me, I would say they're all important, but looking at the perspective of the developing countries, all they want at this point is, can we afford this energy? So it's okay.
Yes, I think
Right,
that the regional difference in the development level is really an important factor that affecting the energy trilemma. So Keyi, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I quite agree with Uduak on developing country. because from technical perspective, we cannot have a power grid with all renewable from scratch, because we have to have a system to let people have access to the power with no small interruptions or less interruptions, a secure system, a robust system. But this system has to have a huge inertia with lots of let's say fossil fuel as the resources, and later on, once the system is developed, we can consider to integrate the renewables. And I would say affordable may come into first. I'm not saying clean energy is not important, because we cannot pollute the environment, and we enjoy energy. We have to have our later generation to have the same right to have the energy. But I would say the affordable may come first, and let the industry boost, and they have more money to invest in the technology to bring more clean energy later on.
Okay. Thank you very much for your answers for this question. So let's move on to the next question. So I understand that the affordable and clean energy, we want both. So to bring affordable and energy to the community, what technical advances are needed? And I would like Uduak to answer this question if possible.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Like said, in terms of bringing it to the community, the technological advance, again, it still depends on the zone we are, like developed countries and developing countries. So, well, generally we have like electric vehicles, electric energy efficient, and like building design and rechargeable batteries, like extended life and light bulbs. But in terms of that's for developed countries. But when you talk of developing countries, I think we look at the future is renewable in term, yeah, because having to work towards sustainability, the implementation of, we have to look at it in a local implementation of sustainable solution. For now, it is the best modern, like in terms of the renewable system, the solar system. So we have a lot of things like mentioned in the advancement needed, but again, it still depends on it's in developing countries or developed countries. So there are lots of things there, but what we have to look at is the implementation of the sustainable solution, the sustainability. We have to look at the security, energy security, and the energy access.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So for question 3, we have similar questions, but it's for the clean energy. And I'd like Keyi to answer this question.
All right. So I would say we have lots of implementations of clean energy, such as the wind farms and the solar energy systems. But how do we tackle about the intermittency of these resources is really important. Personally, I believe in one is the energy storage, because once the wind is high, we can store the extra energy we cannot consume at the time point. So I would say storage is important. And another one, I would say demand side management, because we can build infrastructures and communication control. And by doing this, the customer can have the signal of the price signal of the electricity, and then they simply leave the computer to decide when to switch on the washing machine and the dishwasher and the heating system. So I would say these two aspects are important for the intermittent renewable energy resources.
Okay, thank you. And Kelly, I understand that you did a lot of research on energy storage and other technologies that help bring clean energy. Do you have anything to add for this question?
Yes. So, I mean, I understand the argument that there is a special element there, and of course, I mean, if you are within or UK or outside UK, of course, and in any country worldwide, the solution is not going to be different. So, because of course, power systems in each country that are very specific. So basically, any solution that we find is going to be tailored to the specific problem that each country is having, and that refers to the security, to the cost, and to clean energy. So one thing that I would add is that, I mean, apart from the technical part itself, we require a lot of different actors to work together. That means that in the past, pretty much the flow of energy and the flow of information was quite vertical, whereas now this has changed a lot. So we have seen the distribution operators, system operator, aggregators, industry, government, academia, all of those working together. So I think, of course, we're going to keep trying about tackling intermittency in the clean energy sources, and that is going to be the technical element. But honestly, the other element is that we need to cooperate and all of us working together because, of course, a big part of clean energy is the subsidy part. And that is, so the policy and regulation is quite important to integrate more clean energy to the community, as well as the control part, which is going to come more from the different network operators. So I think there are going to be different actors across the whole level of each country working together to find a solution that is tailored to each country based on the constraints that each country has.
Okay, thank you. And we have two prepared questions, but I received a few questions from the audience. I would like to address them first. So I received a question privately from one of the attendants. He asked, is it possible or feasible for us to go 100% renewable in power generation in the nearest future? And if not, what do you think will be the percentage of renewable injection? So anyone would like to answer this question?
Sorry, Siwi, what was the second part of the question?
So if it's not possible to go 100% renewable generation, what do you think will be the percentage for the renewable injection?
Oh,
I think it's hard to predict that part.
I can give it a go.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is not impossible, again, based on which country you are, it is not impossible. It is a matter of how much you want to pay, okay? Because if you look at the view, again, for UK, okay? So if you look at the view of National Grid on the different world views that they have for, let's say, 2030 and 2050, some of their scenarios, they assume minimal use of gas, so coal is out, any other not clean source is out, and there is a minimal source of gas that is there, but it is coupled with carbon capture storage. So you could argue that it is clean. So the problem with those approaches is that because you rely a lot on storage and on other flexible solutions, your cost goes significantly higher. So if I don't have a crystal ball to say what exactly is going to be the percent if we don't go, for example, towards a community renewable scenario, but we go towards, let's say, the steady progression scenario of National Grid. So in that case, I don't have a specific number, but I would imagine that you would just need to rely on gas primarily or any other non-clean source as part of your decision. It depends again on which country you are, because in the UK there is the legal commitment that we go net zero until 2050. So, I mean, based on that, we may be able to accept a bit higher cost, I guess, to meet the goal.
Yes, I think I agree with you that it's technically possible, but
Yes.
in reality, we need to consider cost and a lot of other things.
Yeah, can I make some comments?
Yes, sure.
Because I'm doing research as well with the integration of wind generation into the power network, and usually the replace factor of conventional generation by wind generation is about 2 to 5, which means you will have double or 5 times of the capacity of wind generation to replace the existing coal-fired power plant, such like that. So the cost of the energy doesn't necessarily goes down, and if you want to replace all of the conventional generation in the network, you may increase the cost. And it's a trade-off of affordable and clean. And technically, if you want a power grid with DC connection and no inertia, it is feasible, but it may increase the cost. And again, it's not really about technical aspects. It's about politics and the government policy.
Yes.
To see if it's necessary to go to full renewable.
Yes, okay. Thank you all for the answers. We only have 1 minute left, so I'll quickly go to the next question. So Steve just made a comment on question 1 about the affordable and clean energy, and I think it makes sense, make a lot of sense, because we need to consider a variable balance of the cost and the cleanness of the energy, according whether we just want to sustain life or we want to go for a luxury use. So I think everyone can see his comments on the chat room, so I will not repeat it. So there's another question asking for comments on the energy from hydrogen. So anyone, personally, I don't have any experience about the hydrogen energy, but if anyone would like to make a comment on this type of energy source, like is it affordable, and should we invest on it, things like that. So anyone would like to answer this question?
Sorry, which question is that?
So I'll copy it here.
Okay.
In the chat room. So it's about using hydrogen as a source for energy. It's I understand is currently developing technology like fuel cells to replacement the chemical cells. Yeah,
I can make some comments if you would like. Similar to you, I don't have great experience on hydrogen, but so the way that I understand it, I mean, you can use it on the very domestic level, and the idea is to replace any oil or gas boiler with hydrogen boiler. However, that at the moment is quite at the initial phase. So that means that pretty much in the UK, most of the heating is based on gas boilers. So that they investigate how we can start using hydrogen boiler. There are some technical problems there because you have some certain limits on how much you can insert in the gas network, so in the pipelines. So I know that there is a lot of work into that area. There is also, so in my company, we have done a study about basically if you have the heavy duty vehicles, so not the, the electric vehicles more for domestic customers or even commercial, but the heavier like vehicles, So we've done a study if, as you said, we could use something like fuel cells, so more hydrogen-based approach, but compared to batteries or like, you know, traditional fuels, that didn't really prove economical with the current costs. So it makes more sense to use batteries than hydrogen. And I know that there is also the power to gas technology, which the idea is that you couple hydrogen with any renewable source and basically use hydrogen more for like seasonal storage. So there is also this one. And I know that there is a fourth element that is EDF in the UK is investigating collocating hydrogen with nuclear, so that again, you know, you have like you treat hydrogen as storage, bulk storage, and you use kind of clean source, either wind or nuclear, to charge your storage in a sense. So these are the areas that I am aware of hydrogen. So as I said, it's either on the very domestic level, more for heating purposes. My experience says, but anyone feel free to correct me, it's at the early stage. So that is the heating, or in the transport. Again, as I said, that didn't prove very economical, or in the generation where you collocate with a clean source, either nuclear or wind.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Let's take one last question, which is very related to our current situation about the COVID-19 outbreak. So Ali has asked, the current situation might lead to an economic recession, and how will this affect the renewables to increase their popularities and things like that? So anyone would like to comment on this?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment on it. Well, it's going to slow the global shift to renewable energy, but actually it cannot stop it, because before the outbreak, the industries and until then has already been like kind of put headwinds as a result of most of the events, and put things in order for it. But definitely falling energy demands, the economic contractions will reduce the power demands, because every form of economic activity somehow it requires electricity. But looking at it at instantly, most of the industries are not working and all those things. So all these things have been, and a lot of research, a lot of work is being put in place. So definitely it's just going to slow down the process, but not really going to stop. Yeah, because there are a lot of things in place, like, okay, this is what we're going to do after the outbreak, so which we're hoping it's soon going to end.
Okay, any more comments on this? Okay, considering that the time we have overrun for 5 minutes, so thank you all for participating in our webinar, and I'll quickly go to the last page. So thank you very much, and please give your feedback for our webinar by filling this survey, and I'll also email you the link later. And if you like, please follow us on the social media channels. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and if you scan the QR code I'm showing here, it will lead you to our website, and later I will post today's presentation slides and audio there. So please stay tuned in to our other activities. And I would also like to say a big thank you to my committee members who helped me organize this event. So I got a screenshot of all of them here. So thank you very much. And I will leave this meeting chat room open in case anyone would like to add more comments or leave their contact message for social network. Otherwise, I'll say our webinar is now finished. Thank you. Thank you again for our speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.